Hi guys, welcome back for another one. Now today is the second installment of videos that I'm doing exclusively for viewers on the request. As I put it on my Discord some time ago, when I hit 5,000 subs, what are some videos you guys like to see? And I am picking out 5 of those and doing 5 videos. The first video in this series was Choose My Fate. The second one here is me answering questions about myself or Marvel Strikeforce, whatever the viewers wanted to ask me. So guys, if you're ready for some serious and also some fun questions, you know what to do. Sit back, relax, and let's get into it. So I just got this anniversary mail, and I think this might be the very first skin we're getting. I did hear a rumor a while back that the first skin was going to be a legendary, and this is definitely not Fury's normal skin with the gold and stuff like that. So I have a feeling this is an Easter egg, guys. Alright guys, I'm kicking off the first half of questions of all questions that came from Twitch today. How much money do you think it costs to finish off DD4 as soon as possible? I'm pretty sure the first people to clear this off have spent thousands. As to clear this thing off quickly, not only do you need the G15s, most likely these same players will also need Origin Gear, Catalyst, and possibly gold to rank these characters up. So I'm putting it in the thousands, probably not in the hundreds. And I think players that are now starting to clear probably spent a couple hundred versus the players that were first to clear it. I still at this point do not believe any 100% free to play players have cleared this. Next question, would you start playing another game other than Marvel Strikeforce? So this is not the first time I've been asked this question. It's actually not the first time I've been asked to play a different game and feature it on my channel. But it always comes down to this. I spend a lot of time into Marvel Strikeforce because one, it's something I'm super passionate about and I love doing this. And two, I love Marvel. Like just flat out, in this game, for me, embodies the style of game I like to play. It includes Marvel more than any other game. So for me to really play another game and actually even feature it as content, I'd really be something I'd be passionate about, or the price tag was very high. That's basically what it boils down to for me to play another game than Marvel Strikeforce, as I have plenty of stuff to do other than play another mobile game. Next one, what is my favorite Marvel movie? I think for me, when I was a kid growing up, the first series of Spider-Mans with Tobey Maguire, I loved them. I did not realize how bad the third movie was when I was probably still in my 20s when the third movie came out. So I didn't realize probably how bad it was looking back and watching it now compared to the other Marvel movies we have now. But definitely Infinity War and Endgame, those two series of movies together back to back. Oh, I've never been more excited for a movie ever in my life than when Endgame came out. Next up, biggest regret character that I have built up. You know what, for this one, let's go into game so I can show off the character in all his glory. First up, Groot. I would really love my alien spores back. That's one. Next up is Karath. I would really love my gold and gear investment back on this one also. Doesn't really do much in the game. I built him up for a Callous to Change challenge back in the day. And honestly, I wish I just would have built up someone else and had a little bit more patience, as this character does nothing for me nowadays. And last but not least is Defenders. I would like all my T-Force back and a lot of my investment back. Now, I never put orange gear in these guys, but as you guys can see, if I go here in Iron Fist, I spent a lot of T-Force on this team because I didn't realize back when I first started playing this game that not stopping and going and invest into another team may have been more beneficial than taking a step back for 2 weeks in arena or something like that while I did so. And that is the characters that I have the biggest regret building up. Next up, biggest Dark Dimension 4 regret so far. Now for me, I cannot regret most of the characters I built up. If I had to pick one that has probably let me down the most so far, it's got to be Baron Zemo. And I know that's probably a shock me throwing that name out there, but if you guys have caught me on Twitch playing DD4 Global, you guys have seen every day that character constantly being knocked out. Like, he just did not survive a wave no matter how hard I tried. So I don't know if that problem will resolve itself as I get more red stars on, especially the 5 they're offering in the new Stellar Celebration event. Yeah, so if I get those, maybe those 5 reds will make a difference. As I get more yellows on them, maybe it'll make a difference. But right now, by far, I probably would have made out better if I would have brought Black Widow. Maybe, I don't know, can't test it. Next question, favorite superhero you want to see come to Marvel Strikeforce? Now, I say this a lot when people ask me these questions. I'm a big X-Men fan. Like, that was my childhood X-Men. I really wasn't into things like Iron Man, Thor, or Captain America. For me, it was all X-Men. That was the franchise. That's what I loved. And seeing a lot of these characters come to light recently, it's definitely scratched that itch. I mean, anyone who's followed me, I basically broke my free-to-play standards over Jubilee and the Astonishing X-Men because Jubilee is my favorite character. And so going on that stance, I would really love to see Rogue as the next character get introduced when it comes to the X-Men franchise. Along with Rogue, I'd really love to see Apocalypse if you're looking at the supervillain side. But those are two I'd really like to see. Probably Apocalypse over Rogue, but that's where it definitely stands with me. Now we're getting into the people that left their comments on my Discord for this video. So first up, Commander 5. What else do you do for fun outside of the game? Well, Commander 5, I really like to play board games. I usually, like, once a week I go over and with family and play board games. That's kind of another hobby of mine. I have like a lot of collection of board games. Outside that, I also like to play poker, like Texas Hold'em poker. I'm decently good at it. I've probably won more money than I've lost playing it in my lifetime. But I'm not a big gambler, so you don't really catch me like out in the casinos or stuff like that, or even on. I really don't even play it online. I only play it if I'm in person. But yeah, some of the things I like to do for fun. Oh, and vacations. But I haven't really enjoyed any of those really recently. But I do like vacations, especially beaches. Next is Left by the Info Dealer. You guys can catch him on Twitch every single day in my chat. What's the number one thing you know in Marvel Strikeforce now that you wish you knew at the beginning? Now, I kind of answered this one already earlier because if you guys were here watching me on Twitch, you guys saw me pause because I realized I was probably answering this question in advance. And it's going to be the whole entire thing of don't get stuck on a team. Like for me, back in the day, it was like, oh, build defenders. And right, I got stuck on them, right? I believe I had to keep investing in them to keep marching up in arena. I feel like I need to keep investing in them to keep marching up in raids when all I was really doing was hurting my progress. And what I mean by that is if I would have stopped investing in them, switched to another team that actually could carry raids or could carry arena better, I would have took a step back while I was building that team, but eventually netted a better progress forward because I invested in a better team. And I think that's the same thing today when we talk about recommendations of who to build first for heroes and villains. It's all about not getting stuck on a team that does not net you further than their intended purposes. Next up, Deerding, your beard routine. Well, I think when he first asked this question, it was a little longer than what it is now. I was actually letting it grow really long because it was just a phase I was going through. But I really realized I couldn't control it or anything like that. But if you're curious, every once in a while, if I'm going out, hot date or something like that, I got this thing called Bushmaster. Can I see it? Bushmaster, right? We just squirt my little hands right here. A little dab, not very big. Rub it around and then you just rub in your beard. Right? It's supposed to make it smooth. Has a nice smell to it. I can smell it right now. Yeah. And then, and then it leaves my hands oily. Usually I wash them, but I still got a video to record, so we're just going to keep moving forward. The next question is left by Gunny the Punisher. Are you considering quitting Marvel Strikeforce? What would make you quit or what would keep you? So first question, am I considering quitting Marvel Strikeforce? At the current moment, no. Have I ever felt like I was ready to quit Marvel Strikeforce? I don't think so, and if I ever had the feeling of quitting, it wasn't over bugs or glitches, exploits, or anything like that. If it was anything, it was probably more of a personal issue. As anyone who's been following me quite some time, know the situation with my daughter. Do I struggle with mental health issues because of that? Yes, I'm not going to deny it. And so usually I'll have my low days where I get there in my head. But have I actually ever really? No. What would make me quit? I don't know at this point what would make me quit. Probably a better Marvel game at this point. I've invested a lot of time into this, and I'll probably go down with the sinking ship, even though I'm not the captain of it. And honestly, what would keep me, if they really wanted to keep me, is make this game better for the community. Make it better so players keep joining. More and more players stay. If you guys do that, I have no reason to quit. I have no reason to go down with the sinking ship. Just make it better for everyone else. You don't need to make it better for me. Next up is Flapjack. What are your top 10 characters you would invest in as an endgame player? This was very tricky, and I did my best to answer this, but this one was a really tough question to pick out 10 characters. As an endgame player, what would I build? So, I got a nice graphic for you guys. So first up, I would definitely build Dr. Doom, because as I stated before, I see this game in 4 stages. I see early game players, mid game players, late game players, and end game players. End game players have Dr. Doom. So that would be first on my priority list. Second on my priority list would be Doc Ock. I think this character's value keeps going up as more and more people get him maxed and he can deal with current meta characters, so I think he's worth the investment. Next up, Ebony Maw, still probably one of the best legendary characters in the game. Still has not passed, definitely would build him up if I haven't already. Next up, Sinister. I've come to learn that Sinister is pretty good. I've always been on the fence and not building him because he was never shown for need for content, but as content gets harder, he's proven his value over and over and over again, and definitely a character that if you haven't built him to this point, you definitely should. Next up, Symbiote Spider-Man, another character, a lot of value. If you haven't built this point, you probably should. Surfer, I'm telling you right now, this guy, if I could get 6 stars on him right now, and not the exploit way, I think he'd run over every character in this game. I really do. At 3 yellow, 3 red, he is handling endgame content like a pro. I haven't got him to punch up on a Black Order in Arena yet, and I probably don't have the right team comp yet. I'm still working on that. But I'm able to punch across with the wrong characters with Silver Surfer, and the fact that I can do that right now, it's only going to get better as he gets more stars and I get the right team comp. The next one, also when I talk about Endgame, I think about Doom Raid, so I definitely need to work on some skill, so that would go Taskmaster and Red Guardian. Red Guardian seems to be pretty much essential for the skill lanes, and Taskmaster, the more data I keep seeing, the more he's showing. A beefy Taskmaster will put in some work. After that, and ending it all, probably the 2 characters that I've drugged my feet on the most, that if I was a true endgame player that I may heavily consider building up, would be Longshot and Shatterstar. Because I built up the Astonishing X-Men, I'm kind of pausing these 2, but as an endgame player, I probably would build up these 2. And finally, the last question is brought in by Professor Grum. If you were invited to a Marvel fancy dress party, which in-game Marvel character would you go as and why? And I just realized that said in-game as I was reading it, because when I put this together, my answer was Gambit, which is not an in-game character. He's actually not a game character. And my reasoning for this is the trench coat. I want the darn trench coat. And the staff. I want the staff. I want to be able to wheel the staff around like I'm a G or something. Now, if in-game character, I think I'd have to go with a guy that my alliance most recognizes me as, and that's Thanos. Because he's inevitable, and so am I. And that will do it. If you guys enjoy this one, do me a huge favor, hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here and I'm not done already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you do not want to miss the rest of the videos that I'm doing this series, as I still have 3 more I need to make, don't forget that notification bell. And with all that said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.